Coming up on BCN today, memorials held in Edmonton and Calgary Sunday to honor victims of the jetliner incident in Iran. Plus, the family of a young girl battling cancer getting help with acts of kindness from the local Lethbridge community. And black smoke and ash rises above the Philippines today.
Your Canada. Your southern Alberta. Your stories. From our studios in the heart of Lethbridge, it's BCN Today with Jeanette Rocher.
Hello, and thanks for joining us. Thousands of people gathered at a memorial at the University of Alberta for the victims of a jetliner shot down in Iran last week. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says it's been gut-wrenching to listen to stories from relatives of 57 Canadians who died. He said he has learned many of the victims came to Canada in search of new opportunities for their families, but they are now consumed by grief and outrage.
I had a chance to meet with some families over the course of the past few days, and to be perfectly honest with you, I wish I could adequately share with you what I was privileged to hear. Sitting with these families while they talked about their loved ones, learning who they were, what they loved to do, what their plans were for the future, was gut-wrenching. All Canadians were heartbroken to hear that Ukrainian International Airlines Flight 752 had crashed. All Canadians were shocked and outraged to learn that it had been brought down by an Iranian missile. This tragedy struck our Iranian-Canadian community, leaving cities like Edmonton reeling. But this was truly a Canadian tragedy. All Canadians are mourning your loss.
Alberta Premier Jason Kenney and Edmonton's Mayor Don Iveson were also in attendance and spoke to those who were grieving.
Whether their lives were taken by incompetence, by accident, or by design, we know that everyone on board that plane were victims of a chain of actions rooted in the all-too-human failure to resolve conflicts peacefully.
Within hours of the tragic news, we heard about communities springing into action, including not just planning today's commemoration, raising relief funds, but beginning immediately to share the stories of those lives lost with the world and make real the staggering number of lives lost, with faces and with names and with memories. And so for family and for friends and for colleagues of the victims, the tragedies are immediate and they are personal. And on behalf of my City Council colleagues and the people of Edmonton, we are so sorry for your loss.
8 Canadian specialists are traveling to Iran today to join 3 members of Canada's Standing Rapid Deployment Team at a base of operations for a Canadian government in the wake of the shooting down of the Ukrainian passenger jet. They include 2 experts from the Transportation Safety Board. The TSB also plans to deploy a second team of investigators who specialize in aircraft recorder download and analysis. Prime Minister Trudeau has demanded that Canada be fully involved in the investigation, including gaining access to the plane's black boxes. TSB is set to hold a news conference in Ottawa this afternoon concerning its role in the investigation. Iranian security forces fired both live ammunition and tear gas to disperse demonstrators protesting against the Islamic Republic's initial denial that it shot down the Ukrainian jetliner. Tehran's police chief denies his officers opened fire, but the semi-official Fars news agency reports police shot tear gas in some areas. Iranians are angry over the downing of the plane and the misleading explanations from senior officials in the wake of the tragedy. An Iranian Revolutionary Guard commander says his unit accepts full responsibility for accidentally shooting down the plane. General Amir Ali Hajizadeh says he wished that he was dead after learning about the downing of the plane. Iran's armed forces say they mistook the passenger plane for a hostile target after it turned toward a military center. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky is calling for an official apology and says he expects financial compensation. Meanwhile, Maple Leaf Foods CEO Michael McCain has sent out a series of tweets criticizing the U.S. government for the Iranian missile strike that brought down the jet, killing all 176 people on board. The victims included a company employee's wife and 11-year-old son. McCain says he is livid and says he feels that a, quote, narcissistic in Washington destabilized the region. The federal conservative leadership race officially begins today. Candidates have just over 2 months to raise $300,000 and get 3,000 signatures in order to have their names on the ballot. The contest unofficially began in the middle of last month when Andrew Scheer announced that he'd quit as soon as his replacement was chosen. Lethbridge Police Sergeant Ryan Steff and his investigation into the murder of 78-year-old Irene Carter will be featured on the hit CBC true crime series, The Detectives. The episode, entitled Out of Lies, features a dramatic reenactment of the case and will air Thursday, January 16th on CBC. Irene Carter was found murdered in her Normandy Road home in 2016. Initially, it appeared the grandmother was the victim of a robbery gone wrong. But the investigation exposed a web of lies that implicated a shocking suspect, the woman's own daughter. Lisa Freyholt was charged and ultimately pled guilty to second-degree murder in 2018. She is currently serving a life sentence. Calgary police are investigating a suspicious death after they responded to reports of a shooting. Police were called to the incident at the home of the city's East End yesterday that left a person in critical, life-threatening condition. The victim was declared dead a short time later. One man was arrested at the scene. Police say it was not a random incident and that the people involved are known to each other. A local family is experiencing the kindness of fellow community members here in Lethbridge. 5-year-old Jennifer Ortega was diagnosed last year with a cancerous kidney tumor, and the family now has to travel to Calgary every week for treatments, placing financial and other stress on the family of 5. But a couple of local community groups, LCO International and Connecting Our Community Lethbridge, were busy with some practical help Saturday at a local church, inviting anyone who wants to help to join in.
There's no better way than to invite the residents of Lethbridge to come together by way of creating meals with us, financial gift cards. We've encouraged children to come on board. We have hockey teams, daycares who have all created beautiful cards of encouragement, cheering little Jennifer on.
So I've just decided to help this family so that they could have a freezer full of meals, and I thought what a great opportunity for the community to get involved so we can work together to help this family and make them feel a little bit loved and also encouraged that we're rooting for them. My biggest motivation is probably that I've been the recipient of something like this before. When I heard that this family was looking for meals to give to this family, I thought, I can cook, I can give back that way. That's something that I received. It's something that I can give back to.
I just met the family back in December through my boys. They were talking about Jennifer being so sick, and they know one of her brothers. So thankful for everybody that is coming on board and helping out this family. They really need us right now, and it's amazing to see the kind of community that we live in.
LCO International has a meal train posted on their website so that if you aren't able to make it today, you are welcome to go onto that website. You can find it all on social media, and you can actually go and pick a date that hasn't been collected by someone within the community of Lethbridge to make a meal for the family.
Meal donations can be made by connecting with www.mealtrain.com, and monetary donations can be made at www.lcointernational.com. The University of Lethbridge got a boost in the arm from a generous donation from two organizations totaling $400,000. BCN's Loris Alexander has more.
It's my pleasure to announce a gift totaling $400,000 from the Power Corporation of Canada and Canada Life in support of the scientific discoveries on this. The overall gift is significant, and it really is wonderful to see it go to such an interesting area of research, which is looking at how we bring together traditional sciences and historic sciences, indigenous sciences, to look at critical issues like cancer and finding treatments and cures for cancer, looking at natural approaches.
The Power Corporation gift includes support to the Dr. Jim Coots Prairie Research Program, a research program headed by U of L biologist Dr. Roy Goldstein.
It feels very, very good to be receiving these gifts from the Power Corporation of Canada and from Canada Life. It's a very generous donation. It will help us improve our research, and it will help us teach our students.
We saw the work that the University of Lethbridge was doing to try and advance education in a couple of different ways when we thought the diversity of bringing different sciences together.
What we see in the University of Lethbridge is really cutting-edge research, a deep commitment to a first-class student experience here involving students actually in the research, and also the values of the place. There's clearly a deep engagement with the community of Lethbridge. It's not a town and gown division, and the way in which in the prairie research grasses there is an involvement of Indigenous elders, respect for traditional knowledge, but also really cultivating something that's new in Canada, and that is looking at our own ecosystem for the development of life-saving drugs and drugs that will improve the quality of life.
For Bridge City News, I'm Loris Alexander.
Thank you, Loris. The City of Lethbridge held an open house to receive community input for the Westminster Area Redevelopment Plan, a project that has been in the works since 2016. Community planner with the city, Genesis Javier Oreo, says the evening was a night of discussion and collaboration.
We came forward with policies, and the policies were drafted in collaboration with an advisory committee that is made up of residents of the neighborhood. We've been working with this advisory committee with them over the past 2 years, and they have actually been very important in the drafting of these policies. So we came to the public, to the broader public, with existing policies, and the feedback we received aligned very much with the feedback we've heard already from the residents that live within the neighborhood. The plan comes into effect when City Council approves it. Currently, it's just a document. When City Council accepts it as a area redevelopment plan, it means that it's bylaw, and therefore it needs to be fulfilled for every development that the city gets in that area. And so the next step is to bring it forward to Council.
The process included a 12-person advisory committee made up of Westminster residents. Javier Oreo says she expects the proposal to be presented to City Council in late February. Canadian universities used to have a reputation for being bastions of free speech and freedom to debate controversial ideas. But that reputation has been fading, according to the president of the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms.
But we have reason to believe that the university is scared of Antifa violence, and so they want to pander to Antifa and please Antifa, which is very, very problematic, because if you don't stand up to these groups and if you allow them to dictate who can and cannot speak, you've completely lost the free society. And universities, of all places, should be upholding free speech rights.
We'll hear more about the UBC situation and other cases with the entire John Carpe interview in the second half of today's broadcast. A historian at the University of Reading calls it a seismic moment in royal history. The Queen is set to hold a family summit today to discuss a plan that would see Prince Harry and his wife Meghan walk away from royal roles. Buckingham Palace says the Queen is determined to resolve the situation within days, not weeks. Today's gathering at the Queen's Sandringham estate follows days of talks among royal officials from the UK and Canada, where it's believed that the couple wants to live some of the time. Lots of crazy climate stories to report today. A 3.4 magnitude earthquake shook southwestern Quebec this morning. Earthquake Canada says the tremor's epicenter was located in upstate New York, about 65 kilometers southwest of Montreal. There were no reports of damage, but police got calls from people who heard a noise that sounded like a rumble or a vibration. And the National Weather Service confirms that an EF2 tornado with maximum wind speeds of 130 miles per hour struck Kershaw County in northern South Carolina on Saturday night, doing extensive damage to a high school. Meanwhile, residents of Pickens County, Alabama returned on Sunday to survey damage done by a tornado one day earlier. The National Weather Service said the tornado was packing winds of at least 134 miles per hour, and it hit Pickens County on Saturday, killing 3 people.
This is somewhere where we used to go for Thanksgiving, Christmas. It's just like any big holiday, we just come here and gather. So it's like, to see all of this gone, it was like very emotional. Not only my family, but this is something that would bring, and it has brought the community closer together.
It was just unexpected. We didn't expect to come down here and see this. Whatever we can find, we're just trying to save memories, pretty much. That trailer was gone. The house was like this. My husband was screaming for his sister, Angela. He was going ballistic, hollering, screaming, Angela, Angela, Angela. What's important was remain standing. Our family remains standing. Buildings can be replaced.
Black smoke was seen spewing from a Philippine volcano on Monday after a sudden eruption of ash and steam that forced villagers to flee and shut down offices, schools, and Manila's international airport. The volcano had been restive for months until suddenly it rumbled and blasted steam, ash, and pebbles into the sky, according to officials. Mount Taal is among 24 active volcanoes in the Philippines. An Alaska man whose remote cabin burned down in mid-December was rescued Friday by state troopers. 30-year-old Tyson Steele was picked up in good health at his homestead 20 miles outside of Squentna, according to troopers. Well, the mercury dropped big time last night and will continue to drop this week. A full look at the weather picture is coming up right after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Here's a look at our weather highlights for today and tomorrow in Lethbridge. We're going to be seeing some yucky weather, I'm sorry to say. The high today, minus 23, the low overnight, minus 29. And into tomorrow, it's not going to climb much more. Minus 26 is the high, and the low is only minus 30. So we're going to see lots of bad temperature ahead of us this week. Minus 28 is the high on Wednesday. Same thing for Thursday, climbing a little bit to minus 22 on Friday. And then a beautiful weekend is in store for us with a temperature of minus 7 on Saturday and 0 degrees on Sunday. Most of the week should look like fairly sunny skies with a little bit of clouds. There is a chance of snow today and tomorrow, though. The almanac says the high for this time of year should be around minus 2, which we are not hitting anywhere close to. The low should be around minus 14, which we're going way beyond. The highest temperature on this day was 12 degrees. It was in 1943. The lowest temperature was minus 39 in 2005. The sun rose this morning at 8:25 a.m. and will be setting at 5 minutes to 5 this afternoon, giving us a little bit more daylight than we had yesterday. Snow is expected today on the west coast. Victoria's high 2 degrees, the high of minus 4 in Vancouver. But look at this, minus 26 is the high up in Edmonton, minus 25 over in Calgary. Snow is expected for both of those cities, as it is all across Saskatchewan and Manitoba today. The high in Saskatoon is minus 25 today. Regina's high will be minus 23, but a decent minus 6 is expected today in Winnipeg. Snow there as well. And then as we look further out east, we're going to see a little bit of rising temperatures, even into plus temperatures in Toronto. Their high is 3 degrees. The high in Ottawa and Montreal today is minus 7. We're going to see precipitation all throughout that region in the form of snow and possibly even some rain. Fredericton's high minus 5. Halifax is looking at a high of minus 2 today. Minus 5 in Charlottetown and St. John's, Newfoundland. We'll be seeing a high of minus 7. with snow expected all throughout Atlantic Canada today. That's your forecast. Here's a look at what's happening in your community.
Here's your Bridge City News Community Calendar. Warm your hearts this season and come enjoy the Winter Light Festival at the Nikayuko Japanese Garden until January 31st. Gates are open from 6 to 9 p.m. Experience the illumination of over 100,000 lights decorating the beautifully shaped trees and garden. Admission is $9 for adults, $7 for kids ages 6 to 15, and various ticket packages are also available. For more information, visit nikayuko.com. Blankets for Canada Lethbridge meets Thursdays from 10 a.m. to noon at Southminster United Church. Share your knitting and crocheting skills to keep those who are in need in our community warm. Donations of yarn and financial gifts are greatly appreciated and can be dropped off at the church. For more information, visit blanketsforcanada.ca or call 403-329-6586. And that's your Bridge City News Community Calendar.
Feeling a little down? Well, you're not alone. With the hustle of Christmas over, higher than normal credit card debt and short days all contribute to the winter blues that are common for this time of year. So here's today's daily life hack to cheer you up. Did you know that there are certain foods proven to boost your mood? Try eating oatmeal, cereal, salmon, milk, dark chocolate, or bananas. These foods are proven to be mood enhancers. And there you go. That's been your daily life hack. Well, 9 movies are up for Best Picture at the Oscars. The nominees announced this morning include Ford vs. Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Joker captured the lead with 11 nominations, including nods for Joaquin Phoenix in the Best Actor category. The 92nd Annual Academy Awards will take place on February the 9th. Canadian Space Agency astronauts Jenny City Gibbons and Joshua Kutrick celebrated the end of their basic training this weekend along with their NASA classmates during a ceremony at the Johnson Space Center in Houston. Their class was the first to be supervised by a Canadian astronaut, Jeremy Hansen.
One of the pinnacles of human achievement is the moon landing. It's so memorable and it means so much to so many people, not just in America, this country that led that charge and succeeded, but to everyone on Earth. So I think it's just this sort of shared achievement, and I think we'll experience that again when we open those opportunities up to all sorts of people. And I think the first woman landing on the moon will mean so much to so many people. It's going to be a unifying event.
Ladies and gentlemen, the newest NASA astronaut, Jonathan Kim.
What I hope to be able to contribute to leave behind is the foundation for future explorers to come to the moon as a staging area for further research, for further resource gathering, to be able to launch and explore even further. I hope that my participation in Artemis will plant the seeds of big dreams for young people watching.
Hal Roberts had a chance to sit down with Bethany Jett. She's the co-author of a new book called Platinum Faith. She writes about what the challenges are that life can throw our way and how to respond to those in faith.
This is a journey to not feel stuck or stressed or frustrated, just to know that sometimes the journey is hard, but with whatever characteristic you're working on at the time, there is hope, and God has a purpose for your life no matter what you're going through.
That full interview is coming up in the second half of our show following this short break. Stay with us.